Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This time for real to Bell to Bell with Bobby Blaze, what I'm sure is going to be a beautiful, beautiful episode. I am your host, Professor Jeremy Vilmur, and joining us now, the, as far as we can tell, only Triple Crown winner at Smoky Mountain Wrestling, Bobby Blaze.
Whew, yes. I like how you brought that up, man. I had to think for a second, because a lot of those guys were not junior heavyweights. Mm-hmm. Of course, once I got on the road, I wasn't junior heavyweight for very long myself. Just saying. Got smartened up and fattened up real quick.
Yeah, a couple triple cheeseburgers, and there you go,
Yeah. Wendy's and DQ trips. Someone asked me about that on an interview last week, if I was a part of that DQ trip, and I was like, no, I've been to that DQ and never had any problem with anyone there. But, yeah. Anyway, we talked off air, man. I was like, do I want to say, okay, it's me, Double B, Art Anderson, favorite enhancement talent. If I want to tell a Bobby Eaton story right out of the box, which you got the pleasure of hearing, whether you wanted to or not. And it was all good, folks, just saying that. Let's see. It was nothing bad about Bobby, but I probably incriminated myself.
Just a bit.
I don't know, near a dugout in Vancouver somewhere a long time ago. And I'll just say it's Jeremy. The girl had these, as I said, okay, I'm just going to put so we're going to do Bobby Eaton, beautiful Bobby Eaton, a top 10 list. The official, right? Top 10. And how do you say it?
Official and 100% legitimate.
Yes, and if you got a top 10, yours is probably wrong, and ours is probably right. Just saying.
That's it.
But I told Bobby that I'd seen this girl, and the way I described her to him was, Bobby, she had these great cocksucking lips. And he just popped for it. And nothing ever happened. It was just a girl I saw out walking on this track one day when I was doing some exercises myself, okay? But there was a dugout there, and I kept thinking, ooh, if we walked near that dug at the same time, she was fine. So again, nothing happened. But then several years later, I saw Bobby at a show, and we hadn't seen each other. The first thing he said after he said, Bobby, how's your sex life? And I started laughing, and he goes, man, the way you described that girl. And I said, the one with the cocksucking lips. And he's like, yeah. I said, I told you nothing ever happened, but they was pretty lips, man. So anyway, I don't know if you searched for that on the internet or not, Joe. Goddamn, got me all excited here, Jeremy. You said you might come up with something different if you search those lips on the internet. I don't know.
Yeah. I always got to be careful when I search things. This weird shit seems to pop up. I do kind of feel like I have to get that Tommy Wiseau clip in there. Hey, Mark, how is your sex life?
Hey, that's kind of where our first episode was hi Bobby.
That's right.
Because we popped for that. Oh, hi, Mark. Mm-hmm. We popped for that, man. Oh, man. Yay, the room.
The room.
We said we was going to do it. I don't know if we ever will. And, hey, wrestling fans, we're still out of here. We're going to get to Bobby in just a minute. We've got a fun list for you. But we was going to do a watch party. I don't know how we can do it of The Room one day. And maybe invite some more people that can dig that movie, too. And you have some beer out there in California. I'll have me some here, and whoever wants to join it. And we'll just watch that and do one. That might be fun.
Yeah.
So if you are a fan of Tommy Wiseau, is that how you say it?
Tommy Wiseau, but
Wiseau. So Room.
I've got a friend down in L.A. I don't really talk to him much anymore, but he was a real heavy supporter of this show when you and I first started.
Okay.
And his name's Joe, and Joe does a podcast about the G.I. Joe cartoons where he does.
Yes, I follow him as well. Yeah. I haven't talked to him for a while, but okay.
Joe went through a period of time where every time he went somewhere, he ran into Tommy Wiseau.
Wow.
It was like at the bank, at a restaurant, crossing the street, just shit like that.
Yeah.
And I was like, so is this guy stalking you or what? He's like, I'm kind of thinking maybe.
He may have been doing a film about him without even telling him,
Hey, I heard an interesting theory about The Room the other day.
What's that?
I heard it was a way to launder either mob or drug money.
Seems like I heard something about that because that just came out of nowhere. He was like working at like a Levi factory or something there in San Francisco or something.
They don't fucking know. That's the thing. That nobody knows anything about this guy.
And he was saying he was like 42 out of New Orleans, and he's got that accent. And he's like 60-some. Yeah. Like, where did this come from? You know.
Well, he said something to Joe about being a little boy in Germany. So, but you know what?
Oh.
Okay, so here's what we're going to do.
I thought he was Polish.
Well, I would have said Polish with that last name, but it turns out that last name is a fucked up version of a French word.
Okay.
And then with that accent, I would have said Polish, but no, I'm apparently off base. Okay, so we're going to do the room. We're going to do a watch through. I will figure out the venue, but I'm going to see if we can get Joe in there with us as well.
Sounds good. And any of our wrestling fans out there, if you're familiar with what we're talking about, which I hope we have not lost you at this point, about 4 minutes in, stick with us. You're welcome to join it too if Jeremy can figure out the...
yeah, I'll figure out the venue. I'll figure out the way we can do it. And
sounds good.
Yeah, because that... I
sounds good. For the worst movie ever made, apparently.
The Citizen Kane of bad movies.
There you go, man. Yeah. All right.
It makes Plan 9 from Outer Space look like a masterpiece.
That was going to be my next comparison. And that was a Seinfeld reference, which we were talking about before we went on the air, and we'll leave that there.
What do you mean he finished? What do you mean he middled with my finish? Yeah, exactly.
Hey, now, come on, man. I'm going to leave the finish to the end on mine, okay?
Exactly.
But knowing me, I might finish first and quick. I'm just saying.
Oh, you know, there's always that, too, you know. Sometimes you grab the DDT as quick as you can.
I'm going for long on that. I'm 2-year plan. 2-year plan. Kayfabe.
Oh, man.
Okay, so real quickly, man, I want to, I don't know if you got any shout-outs or not. I do. I just want to shout out to the Time Warp. I want to put Earl over big time, man, for having me down there and his staff and the hospitality that was bestowed upon myself. I appreciate it. I appreciate Joe Pace coming down as well. I had several members of the FTC, the Art of Grappling School, stop by. I had Judy Ray Hendricks stop by. I had Titan Troy stop by. Brock's Boulder stopped by. Bubbles stopped by. Believe it or not, Bubbles did stop by. He said he still had your number, Jeremy, just so you know. Just kidding. Just kidding.
I must have been drinking a lot that weekend.
No. So my brother, my nephew, and my little granddaughter and her mama come down by there and saw me. But I had a really good time, and I had a real steady flow of people the entire time I was there. Cut some promos for Facebook Live. I had a good turnout. I was very, very pleased to represent the city of Ashland in Ashland at the Ashland Town Center, courtesy of the Time Warp. And I got a message today, and it was, I'm just going to leave this person anonymous. Hadn't heard from this person for a while, so I'm going to leave it where it's at. But I'll know where I get this text. I know him well enough that it's in my phone, and it just says, I just stopped in Time Warp. They said your meet and greet went great. Nothing but praise from the employees. That is great news to get that kind of response in Ashland. Super proud. So anyway, I thought that's pretty cool, man. I do know who sent it. It meant a lot to me. And again, thank you, Earl. Thank you, Time Warp. Thank all the good employees down there. Thanks to the Art of Grappling students that stopped by, my family, and all the good fans. Several of y'all listen to this podcast. I know Andy Best and Case Comey, Jeremy, they listen to it. Mm-hmm. I'm just saying, hey, they had the stuff. I don't know, man. They come down and support. They've been several shows, man. They're really getting in this pro wrestling thing. They're the fans of the show, but they are super wrestling fans too. That's always cool. Right to, when you meet a wrestling fan, you know what I'm saying? It's like, that's really cool, man. I mean, and anyway, thanks. And good response from Ashland. I'm very proud of it, to be honest with you. You know me, I got to try my best to stay positive and good vibes only, man. And it was a lot of good vibes, man. A lot of good vibes.
Ashland, do people not normally go out and support local quote unquote celebrity types? Or?
Yeah, it's been in between on that for a while now. And then, with everything going on in the world, I guess some people, might say something hateful about other people or whatever, you know. I don't. Yeah, I don't want to really get into it, but yeah, that's what's kind of happened before, Jeremy. A little bit. I don't know if this is not me personally. I'm just saying there are people that are, famous. I don't consider myself famous or a celebrity or what have you, but I try to stay humbled. Yeah. I try not to take things personally, good or bad. You know,
that's
what I'm saying?
Why I put quotes
I had a good
it so
experience.
we can leave your humility in place. Yeah.
Yeah. So, you hear them talking about other people that have done successful things from this area, and they kind of bury them sometimes, or don't show support. And I'm not one of those people. I'm with several people that I've always tried to support, local businesses or when some event comes and they have, come to town. I'm more like, even if I'm behind the scenes, I'm like, okay, this is a good thing for Ashland. And then you're going to have people that bitch that there's nothing to do, but that's okay. I'm still here for a reason, so we'll see.
Yeah. And that's one of those things I always try to, it's, obviously not during the pandemic, but when I was doing Geekish Cast, I would go to all the local conventions when they had them. And I'd get a table, but I'd also go around and I'd try to spend $400 or $500 just on local people doing local shit, because a lot of guys who are busting their ass, comic book publishers the same way as a pro wrestler. You're out there, you're busting your ass, you're picking up dimes, you're getting, scrambling up all the work you can, promoting yourself everywhere you go. It's important that if your friends are doing that, you are out there supporting them. Yeah.
What's cool is, check this out. You would have spent some money last night. Whether you'd have bought Bobby Blaze merchandise, I don't know. I had books and T-shirts for sale. Signed free autographs. I never charged for an autograph, and Earl was kind enough to have some free 8x10s of me made up so I could sign them and give them out. He took care of that part of it. But I saw several of the students, won't mention any names, but a couple of them was over buying cards. They had some WCW packs. They had some older WWF pack. I think the pack we looked at from 91 was WCW, and I think the WWE was like 2001 packs. So I know people that, were purchasing other merchandise too off of Earl and at the Time Warp,
Sure.
He's got a cool store, man. Very cool. I have to send you some pictures as they come in. So you can put them up on our website, because we need to let people know about our website, man. We have a website, folks.
Yes, belltobellblaze.com.
Go visit it.
Yeah.
We've got, right now we've got some shirts for sale. I'm getting ready to buy me a Pin Me, Pay Me t-shirt. And if I bought one. I've got also, Jeremy, just so you know, I've got tinyurl.com/blaze shirts. If you go to that, there's some pretty nice shirts on there. I bought me a Ringer shirt the other day, and so I paid full price. I'm not complaining about that. And it's a really Sparks Third Coast. Thank you. And I bought me a Ringer shirt, Joe, and it's Joe. Well, I've been on Joe.
Who the fuck is this Joey guy?
Joe Pace. I've been on Joe for like last 2 weeks. We've been together. All the students, all the shows we've done. We had a show this past Thursday at County Fair. I mean, you got to realize we're at the camp. We have been spending the last out of 14 days. I think we spent the last 12 together. All the people from the camp on and off at some capacity. Sorry about that, Jeremy, Professor. God damn it.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, now you've made forget. Oh yeah, Kingslayer shirt, man. It's got Bobby the Kingslayer Blaze on it. I bought me one, but I said this: if I'm not going to buy my own shirt, who the hell will? You know what I'm saying? So I bought me one, and I've got some new shirts made that had a character on them. I've never had this kind of shirt before. I'm going to send you one out first chance I get. Those are going to be available. And then hopefully the vintage Blaze ones, I'm going to be calling Collar and Elbow either tomorrow or Tuesday, and be ordering some more of those T-shirts too to have on any indie dates or anything I pick up along the way. So, yes, we got some T-shirts on our website. Go check it out, man. belltobellblaze.com, right?
Yep, belltobellblaze.com. I try to keep it all consistent.
Yeah, we're trying to.
Yeah, exactly. So I noticed I come up with a new nickname for you, and there's a whole merchandising fucking thing by the time I get back to seeing you again. I just can't help but notice that.
What is it?
I called you the Kingslayer, and now all of a sudden there's a whole...
And then what happens?
There's
It
a
blows
whole
up?
fucking T-shirt business built around this thing now.
Yeah,
Next thing I know, you're going to be putting it on coffee mugs and fucking shoestrings or something.
Probably.
Yeah.
We're gonna have some coffee mugs. Should I reveal what's going to be on those for the Bell to Bell Blaze podcast?
Yes.
You know what it's going to say. A coffee mug. And again, this is like 3 or 4 minds working, folks, not just mine. Professor has something to do with this Sparks third coach, and I suspect another couple people. First thing in the morning, you go get that Morning Joe. There you go. Throw it in there on you. Get that Java. You can have a mug that says, "Pin me, pay me."
Yeah, well, see, I'm in California, so I need a mirror that says it. But,
okay.
morning
Gotcha.
boost is morning boost either way.
Just write that on your damn mirror and look in the mirror every day. I don't know. Right above your forehead. Then below it, put Mark. I don't know. But I know this, Professor. This is the one Professor come up with. We're also pushing for this. If we can get this one. You want to reveal the other one you got for the T-shirt?
Daddy said sell, I think is.
Daddy said sell.
Yeah.
Woo, we're getting some of those, hopefully, man. And like I said, I think you might have a few girls that walk the street wearing those shirts, man. That said, Daddy said sell.
Guys and girls walking the street wearing that shirt.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I think all the wrestling fans will be on the end on it. The girls will be like, I don't know, man. My old man said wear this, and
there you have it.
I'm wearing it. There you go. Hey, man, you think we ought to do 10 reasons we love Bobby Eaton?
I think somebody should, and if we don't do it, who will?
Yeah, and if they do it, they're probably not doing it the way we're doing it, because we're giving you the best, 100% legit. But I just about guarantee it, if you're doing a Bobby Eaton list, most of this will be on there. And also, more importantly, we're remembering a fine human being, one of the best wrestlers in the world of all time, and we're gonna make this fun and hope you enjoy our top 10. But this is the official list right here on the Bell to Bell with Bobby Blaze podcast.
That's right. Well, okay, now keep in mind we're upside down here, so Bobby.
Yeah, we are. Yeah. I just about said number 1.
Yep. I was going to say I'm going to lead off just to make sure that I'm trying to conduct us in the proper order here.
Gotcha.
Bobby Eaton, number 10. He is the most underrated wrestler.
Yeah, he was, man. And we had him on that one YouTube video Tex put out for us. We've had him on our list before. I would just about say, I'm not going to just about say, I'm going to go out and say it. I'd guarantee it. That's probably Arn's favorite talent enhancement right there, beautiful Bobby Eaton, but he was underrated. He was so good. But I don't know, even on Top of the World, with some of these tag teams we're going to mention and stuff, I don't know that, outside the industry, the fans really appreciated just how good Bobby Eaton was. In the fans' eyes, definitely underrated. Not in the guys' eyes, but boys' eyes.
Well, I was going to say,
just saying.
The boys probably, they recognized, they saw exactly what it was. The fans, I think you got to be giant fucking wrestling nerds like us. To really pick out like a Bobby Eaton as like a guy.
Right. That's what I was getting. Fans probably, in their eyes, he's just, I'm just going to use enhancement talent. And we know that's not the case. As we go through some of these teams he is with and this stuff, I'll say this, and I said it off the air, and it's not going to give anything away. To me, this is a huge statement for his career, if you ask me. He always stayed booked. From the time he broke in, he was always working, man, all the way towards, till he started having some health issue a couple years ago. Think about that. That's hard to do, to stay booked like that. And we're going to go way back to early 80s with our list today. But, from 76 through 80, he was staying booked regular then. If you listen to Corny's show, he talked about with working for Goulas and going down to Georgia and then coming over to Jarrett's, So from that time on, and he always had different things happen throughout his career in WCW, but, he was always one of the ones they got right back on contract, if it expired or whatever, he always had a position, but yeah, I think the boys knew, more than a utility man, and why aren't they pushing Bobby higher to the top or whatever, no matter how high he got on the card. It was just like, I think a lot of people just, kept him very underrated, under the radar, like you said, unless you're one of the hopefully, I think our listeners understand what we're saying there, because our listeners are going to say, yeah, he's probably one of the best in the world, man.
Well,
why are you putting him on an underrated list? It's only because the fans.
We have a very, like, when it comes to pro wrestling, we have a very sophisticated and fucking, like, in the know kind of audience.
Yeah.
You know, we've got, like, we got the Smart Mark group, and, you know, we're a bunch of giant nerds here. That's what it comes
well, let me tell you, real quickly here, just so everyone knows, and I think our fans do get this, but if you're new to the program, we're not saying Bobby Eaton was underrated by, inside the wrestling, the boys stuff. And I want to say, yes, I had someone come up to me, X-Pac, thank you very much. I'm going to drop that in there. Here's why. Apparently he started doing his new podcast, and the producer probably has not seen anything before the 80s or know much about my career, but they were doing this grab bag thing, porn star or jobber, and my name come up, and X-Pac ripped him a new one. And he said, neither. Bobby Blaze was neither, porn star, well, I'm not making it there. And then Jobber, he just defended that no, he was more than that, and put me over on his podcast. I appreciate that, Xbox. So if anyone's new listening and don't understand the way we do things, we're not saying Bobby Eaton was an underrated worker by any means. And way up there if you want to go with great workers, in the world. So just the way he's perceived sometimes.
Yeah. I was listening to the Shivani podcast, and they were talking about Bobby Eaton, and his host Conrad brought up something I found really, really interesting to, like, entertain as a thought. That when Bobby Eaton was active, everybody had to be 6'5" and chiseled out of fucking marble. but nowadays, guys, smaller guys, less well developed guys like Bryan Daniels, these guys are becoming stars. He was, like, making the point that this might have been like a time that Bobby Eaton would have blown up. People could have really seen what somebody like him would do. Yeah,
in his prime at this time, yeah. I can see that. And think about all the talent out there he could be working with right now if he had a shot. A lot of talented athletes out there, in-ring performers. And he could have been, let's put this together, as a singles. It's going to drop us up to number 9. Let's just go at so number 10, most underrated. Number 9, if he was fighting these guys today, excuse this word, performing, just saying, he could have been the TV champion.
Oh, yeah.
Bobby Eaton was a TV champion, singles TV champion.
Yeah.
So we'll talk about singles career a little bit if you like.
Well, yeah. So Bobby, I think he started as a singles wrestler.
Yes.
He was down with Nick Goulas, I think, is where he started.
Yes.
And one of the things I'm gonna reference a lot of stuff I heard Jim Cornette say.
First match, I just remember this real quickly. Was against Bobcat Wright, I think. Is that who it was?
Oh, you might be right. I actually have to go look it up, but I think you might be right.
I'm going to tell you right now, I'm on there. I'm pretty sure that was his first match down there. I could be wrong. Let's see. Yeah, Bearcat Wright. I said Bobcat. Bearcat Wright. Bearcat. My bad. I knew I was off, but I said, his first match was May of 1976 at the age of 17. He made his debut on NWA Mid-America, with a loss to Bearcat Wright. So he was last-minute replacement. He'd been sitting in the ring up since he was 13. And like you said, I know I'm going to let you go ahead. I think if you haven't, already done so, not that he needs us to send you over there, but go listen to Corny's podcast about Bobby, and you'll get the in-depth, because that's where I got a lot of stuff from him too. But go ahead, Professor, lead us on.
Well, so one of the first things that Jim Cornette was talking about with Brian on that show was that at the time Nick Goulas was the only guy who would hire Randy Savage. Apparently, he had been blacklisted from everybody else.
Okay.
So that put Randy Savage and Bobby Eaton in a lot of matches together, and they together kind of developed that high-flying style. Bobby did it his way, and, Randy did it his way, but they kind of working together started doing more innovative and more creative things, just as a way to keep each other kind of, like, entertained and going. So I thought that was interesting. That Bobby's, most of his career, and what most of us would know him for, would be his tag team work.
Yes.
But then when Jim and Stan bolted from WCW, they left Bobby on his own. Now, during this period of time, Bobby would then become the TV champion. And he was working for the first time as a singles wrestler since 1979. So,
wow.
Yeah,
That long?
That long.
Yeah.
So it kind of creates this interesting thing, and I did not know this, but he is the guy who lost the title to Stunning Steve Austin.
Okay.
I didn't realize that it was him, but yeah.
I know there's a Stunning Steve Austin and Bobby Eaton match on YouTube. I don't know if it's for the TV title, but I have watched several. I actually was trying to watch more of the tag team stuff with Rock and Roll and the Fantastics, but that did pop up and I didn't actually watch it. So I don't know if that's when he lost it to Austin or not. But, of course, Austin, I guess, apparently has put him over big time, too, on his podcast. So I don't think anyone's not going to. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's why we was joking about ours being the official. Well, we are for this podcast.
That's right.
You know.
Now, one of the things I'm going to reference here, and I think this is probably the most interesting and creative thing in here that I have heard, and Jim Cornette would have no reason to bullshit about it. But Bobby Eaton did get a couple shots at Ric Flair's world title.
Yes, yeah. There's a 12, almost 13-minute match with Flair on YouTube. I think it's a Clash of the Champions. I'm not sure which one, but he I guess there was heat with Hurd there. Why would he go out there, Flair duet and this and that? But he didn't even want, according to Cornette, Flair didn't even want to beat Eaton. Nope. He wanted to give him a DQ or something. Yeah. He's like, I can go out here and have a match with him and do a DQ and still get my shit over. It's Bobby Eaton, you know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I heard that too, and that right there tells you everything you need to know about Bobby Eaton. When the world champion, like, I'm going to go on this, it wasn't pay-per-view. Of course, that was the alternate to the pay-per-view, the Clash of Champions. Yeah. I'm going to go out here and tear the house down, which they do, but he wasn't going to, go over. He was going to go over by DQ or something, but, he wasn't going to pin Bobby or beat Bobby.
Yep.
So
then Jim Herd, of course, yeah, like you were saying, Jim Herd loses his shit.
Yeah.
And so Ric Flair's trying to, smooth it out or whatever. And so Jim Cornette goes, well, kick all of our asses. So that's kind of how they balance that out, was then they all three got beat the shit out of by Ric Flair. I just know it's like when you've got a guy who's like such a good guy that you're, people are just like, I don't want to beat him. That's all it comes down to is I don't want to,
Yeah, well, I got beat by him. That's going to lead to number 8. How's that? Number 8 of the top 10 reasons we love Bobby Eaton. I love this. His flying knee drop from the top rope, man. It was beautiful. And he dropped it on me in Smoky Mountain Wrestling. He was there working some singles at that time, what we was just talking about. So I got the pleasure early on in my career. Cornette put me in there with them. And, I had put out several tweets back, when he passed away there. And I had actually, Bob Eaton, I had known him before I actually got in the business, only because I was such a fan. And he was one of the guys that would actually, if there wasn't a lot of other people around, we kind of made a connection. And I'd always speak to him before the shows, either Huntington or Charleston. And he'd actually come over behind the curtain and, hey, boy, how you doing? And just, that is Bobby. And just happened to be me. And we connected. So when I got to Smoky Mountain, he had been there, and basically, just TV match, man, and good stuff. I think it's out there on YouTube. I know I've got it on DVD around here somewhere, but the finish, basically, man, he gave me that backbreaker, spun me out, went to the top, man, and he flew across 3/4 of the way across that ring, and that knee come down and just brushed me, boom, 1, 2, 3, pin me, pay me. It was a pleasure. I'd gladly take it again, and he could drop it from heaven above now, and I guarantee it'll still be as light as can be, man, because he's going to look after you in there. Yeah. And, it was I just love that move, and then I'm on the receiving end of it. Of course, I trusted the guy. He's truly professional and, done the right thing, and I'm glad I got to share a ring with him as a single wrestler, For someone that's known throughout their career, as we talked about, tag team specialist, I got to do a singles with them. And I don't know, 5 or 7 minutes, however long Corny gave us for TV there, but that counts some music or whatever. But he come up to me, very professional. That's the way you do things. It just, it's one of these things. the better you are, the less you really need to talk about. I don't like talking about every little thing. And basically, Bobby, we was on the sheet together in production, and he says, what do you do? Give me a couple ideas. And I wanted to do a Japanese arm drag and a couple little things. So I do a high knee, and he said, okay. And he goes, well, I got a couple, you know my stuff. I said, yes, sir, I do, And knowing Bobby Price said, don't call me sir. I don't know that. I don't think he may have. He said, you know what I do? And I was like, I said, yes, sir, to him. And he goes, all right, look here. I'll get with you. Let's take a break here, and I'll get with you in just 3 minutes. I'm like, cool. Walked away, 5-10 minutes past whatever. Come back over, and he goes, here, show me. You want to do that Japanese arm drag? This is how I think we can work it in. You want to do, let's see, what's the other thing? Let's work this in, And that was it. And he worked right around it. Mm-hmm. And I put in a couple, little things on them that he worked it in to where I got a couple spots, where I come out on top. I did like I said, I did the Japanese arm drag, threw him in, shot him off. He took it, but it all led to him getting over,
Yeah, exactly.
To finally, like I said, I even got the high knee and done this, spun him around, and boom, 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 blah, blah, blah. And that was that. Next thing you know, he's backbreaker me, going to the top. But that flying knee drop, I loved when he done it on people, And I asked him in Vancouver, I was like, what's it like, man? He's like, what? And I go, to be one of the best in the world, you're one of the earliest high flyers of all time. And he just like, hey, well, just not trying to kayfabe or anything. He just mumbled around like, oh, well, I go, because that knee drop, man, is fucking, this is 6 or 7 years after the fact when he dropped it on me. We'd, been out long since we'd been in Smokey together. Now here we are in WCW, and he's still dropping it, when they give him an opportunity to. And we had been doing all those spots. We done that motion capture between Lash and Bobby, myself, and Sarge. We done over 600 moves for that first video game. So the knee drop was obviously brought in. Who's going to do that for the motion capture? Bobby Eaton, So he just done it. He didn't try to put it over. Earlier we was talking about being humble. He was just so humble about it,
Yeah, I got two questions based
sure.
off of this for you. What was Bobby's working punch like?
The best. I'm gonna throw this out there because it's kind of an inside rib. I don't even know if he listens anymore. If he does, if he doesn't, tell him. Bob Cook had one of the greatest all-time working punches ever, and I used to rib him, and I'd say, Bob, you do Terry Funk better than Terry Funk, and I'd tell him sometimes, you almost do Bobby Eaton's punch better than Bobby Eaton, but you got the second greatest working punch, Bob Cook, in the business, because no one will ever beat Bobby Eaton for a working punch. It was fantastic, Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And then did you want to work in an arm drag, trying to make up for when you didn't arm drag Bam Bam? Is that what you were working on there?
Actually, I had wrestled Bobby. The Bam Bam was a little bit later, actually. Maybe. I can see where you're going with that. No, that's very observant. I got you. Yeah, probably. No, because one, I know Bobby Eaton a little bit better, and I'm I won't say a trust issue, but I know I can work with this guy. Bam Bam, I'm thinking, the last time I saw him, he's out there fucking power bombing and suplexing the hell out of all these Japanese guys and killing people with Dr. Death over in Japan, and I'm like, it's just a matter of time for he just picks me up, drops me on my, Fortunately, it went very, very well with Bam Bam and Tommy Rich and the matches I had with them. But I was like, that was just more of a respect thing,
I got you.
With Bam Bam, I was just like, okay.
Well, not to get too far off topic. That's a damned if you do, damned if you don't. It's like, okay, I don't want to fucking drag Bam Bam, but if I don't, he's going to kick my ass. But what if I do and something goes wrong, he's going to kick my ass.
Yeah. So I made a quick, I just rung his arm again and tightened it up. I sensed up on an arm bar, and he like arm drag, like, no. I just like, I got you. And I like tagged Robert real quick. I was right there in our corner. I tagged Robert Gibson because it was a tag team with Tommy Rich. And I was like still thinking, I got to take that power bomb as a finish. And the inspector better catch me, And Rich was going to backdrop me as a finish. Rich backdropped me, and Bam Bam caught me in the air. And okay. And at that point, Bam Bam wasn't catching too many people too high then.
Yeah.
So I was right decision. But Bobby Eaton, you could have caught anything, and he would have worked it in to make you look good because he's from that school, the old school, the right school, really, where I want to make my opponent look good because when I win the match, I look that much better.
Yeah. So exactly.
The flying knee drop. Let's go to number 7.
Number 7 is the Blue Bloods when he was Earl Eaton. Yes.
Robert Eaton.
Yeah, Earl is a very southern first name, but it's apparently also a title for rich aristocratic assholes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he was with Lord Stephen Regal. Yeah. And they done those skits. And Bobby, I remember 2 things about it. He was in L.A. doing a skit, and he had on the suit and thing, but he had on these white socks. And I don't think he was in the British outfit. He's still like an American suit, but like maybe a leisure suit or maybe one step above. I mean, he wasn't dressed like Ric Flair, in a whatever. He had him a country boy white suit on, but it showed his shoes and socks, and he had them shoe with white socks, and it just was like so out of place, but so southern. It was so funny.
Yeah.
And then he later told me, and I take it from someone, apparently, Jeremy, WCW, there's a list going around of what people made and this and that, but little old Robert Smedley out there, he still owes WCW $1. Well, thanks to our good friend William Harding, he set up a GoFundMe, and someone raised $5 to pay off WCW for the $1 I owe him. But my point of the story is, Bobby Eaton told me, because we had calendars, and I was looking for royalties off that calendar, which WCW got my fucking birthday wrong. That's all right. I was on the calendar. What's not all right, though, is I didn't get any royalties off of it. There's my image. There's my likeness. Here's the contract. You pay me. That's what it says. But so we got screwed on the calendars. But Bobby Eaton, apparently, they done the Blue Blood Dolls, and he didn't get a dime from that. So if WCW... do right. Get out there and take care of that. Well, he told me they did the posing, they did all the stuff. He saw them come out. There was a limited run of them, and he didn't get a dime. I can believe it.
I believe that means Vince McMahon owes the Bobby Eaton, what do you call it? Estate some money.
There you go. Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. But that's what he told me. He said he never saw any money off the dolls. Now, I don't know if anyone out there has seen them. Text them to me or Jeremy or our Twitter account. That's a joint account at Bell to Bell Blaze. Hit the professor up at the Geekcast or hit me up at Bobby Blaze 744. If you got one of those Blue Blood figures, if you're a collector, and I just had someone send me some stuff today by DM they bought over the weekend at an indie show somewhere, AWA stuff. Anyway, point being, if you got a Blue Blood Dolls, or especially a Bobby, well, send me a picture. I like to see that. And if I'm not mistaken, there's only a few thousand sold. So you might be holding on to something very, very valuable, just so you know as well. And my advice to be is you've had one, it probably has more sentimental value to you than it does any cash value. That's what I would think.
Yeah, so I'll give you $5 for it is what we're getting.
Yeah. So anyway, the Blue Bloods, man, that was about 95, 96. Once again, in a tag team. And mid-card push, I guess, staying active on TV. I don't think they took them straight to the top, but they didn't, they were more mid-card at that point, weren't they?
Yeah.
They didn't bury, main thing, they didn't bury him in a deck. You got to realize, I'll say William Regal, but Steve Regal, Lord Steve, man, he's such a tremendous worker as well. Selling with his facial expressions and the way he worked, right in between just being so light to he can go a little bit snugger and being so professional with it. And then you put on Bobby Eaton. They probably could have had a match with anyone in the world. anyone.
Yeah, I'd put those two. I would drop those two into a match with anybody without even any time for them to work shit out ahead of time. Just like,
yeah, if you just said bell time, and them two would be there, and it'd still be a fucking 5-star match.
Yeah, you guys go, because like I think, we've talked about this before, Steven Regal, William Regal, one of the out and out best wrestlers, period, ever, just out and out.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, and I would say Bobby Eaton, it's probably that same sort of thing. Like, he may not be the first name in everybody's head, but if you understood how he worked and you saw how he carried the matches, he's right there with them,
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, man.
You know what Steven Regal did better than anybody else in the world, though?
What's that?
Looked at the audience and looked at his opponents like they stunk like shit.
Yeah. Oh, just that facial, man.
That look on his face, just that, get away, peasant.
Yeah, peasant. That's what I was going to say, peasant. Yeah. Everyone's peasant to him. Yeah. That guy could go, man. And I got to share the ring with him a couple times, too, so that's another story we'll save for another day.
Yeah, we'll have to talk about him at some point.
Yeah, we will. Let's go to number 6, and this one is going way back. I put Ishus on there because I know it was around 81, and it probably ended in 83. It could have been started, though. I think Hart may have had it in 80-ish, but it could have been. But 81, 83 is very active, and that's Jimmy Hart's first family. Bobby Eaton was a member of that, and that's with the with the Jarrett's organization, the Mid-South Continental Wrestling.
CWA.
CWA, thank you. Anyway, he got to at Fraction. They had he broke up Sweet Brown Sugar, I guess. And trying to think here.
I watched
Jimmy Hart. I'm trying to look at that. I'm trying to look at who was in. So he broke up with Sweet Brown Sugar. That was his tag team partner. But I'm trying to. The Moondogs. That was part of that, right?
I believe so. I watched the match last night. It was Bobby Eaton and Coco Ware versus the Fabulous Ones.
Okay, yeah. I knew they battled them.
That was an interesting watch because there's Stan Lane versus Bobby Eaton, and that was kind of wild.
Eaton faced Stan Lane several times in a tag team competition.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. Jeremy, you need to kick me right in the ass on this. I'm trying to think who he had to. I'm trying to think of who are. Oh, Buddy Landell had been in a First Family, correct?
Oh yeah. You know what? I'm
trying to think of who was in a First Family. I'm sorry, Bobby, the Moondogs. I think Buddy was in there at one time. I hear you typing away, Professor.
Yeah,
but
let me go get a list.
Yeah, get a picture of that because I should have been more prepared for this. I knew Moondogs, Buddy. Jimmy Hart's Army. I'm trying to think who else he had in there. The First Family, I mean.
Are we ready? Because I'm gonna do this now, okay? Norval Austin, Ox Baker, King Kong Bundy, Dennis Condrey, Sabu the Wild Man, Chick Donovan, Bobby Eaton, Wayne Ferris, Buddy Landell, Austin Idol, Masai Ito, Kamala, Andy Kaufman, Larry Latham, Kendo Nagasaki, Jim Neidhart, Lanny Poffo, The Iron Sheik, Kevin Sullivan, Russian Invader, Lynn Denton, the Bruise Brothers, which would be Pork Chop Cash and Dream Machine. Tony Anthony, Coco Ware, Rick Rude, Randy Savage, Eddie Gilbert, Tommy Rich. Fuck, man, that's a group.
That's a First Family right there. I was thinking about the Larry Latham and Wayne Ferris. They come out as the Blonde Bombers, and before he did the Honky Tonk Man gimmick, and he was like, Hurt the Man Punk Rock. He was Punk Rock Wayne Ferris. He kept getting a gimmick change like every couple of weeks at the time. And that was the other blonde team I was trying to think of because I knew you had the Moondogs at this particular time. I knew you had Landell, Bobby Eaton, Norva Austin. I was forgetting that name. I knew it's someone on there at that end of it. So that's a whole list, man. Then eventually, oh my God. So that would include all them guys he managed back in. But Bobby Eaton was early one to the First Family. So, good deal.
I had to do this as well just because it was said and it gets stuck on my head. The Blonde Bombers, originally a tag team consisting of Rip Hawk and Swede Hansen. Mm-hmm. Next, it was a Pat Patterson and Ray Stevens used the name.
I knew you'd bring that one up, yep.
Larry Latham and Wayne Ferris.
Yep.
Stan Lane and Brian St. John. And then I don't know these two here. It's Tank and Chad Toland. I guess they were in OVW.
Okay.
But that's not a full list because I've seen other teams called the Blonde Bombers. But yeah,
I think I have 2 through the years, so.
That's one of those things that as soon as the name's said, I have to go pull the list up.
Because I knew your reference point is going to be Stevens and Patterson.
Yeah.
And I know that the run here, back in that time, I was, high school, college. I knew it was Latham and Ferris, but that was very short lived. They eventually got different gimmicks, at that different times there.
Yeah.
But so Hart's First Family, and Bobby Eaton was a member of that. So I'll just let me put a book plug in here, and then you take us number 5. We're going to stay with the tag teams after this one.
Yep.
How about that? All right, wrestling fans, listen up. The professor here was kind enough to take a couple of shortcuts to help you get to the links to my books that you can purchase. And if you do, this program gets a small kickback, and we appreciate it very much. But if you like my first book, it's called Pin Me, Pay Me, Have Boostful Travel. It's got over 110 ratings. Averages out to about a 4.5 star rating on Amazon. If you go to tinyrl.com/blazebook1. That'll take you right to Pin Me, Pay Me. Please use that link. Again, it's tinyrl.com/blazebook1. A lot of praise in there, a lot of good reviews. Again, I'm not letting myself get the big head. All I ask for is a fair and honest review. Jeremy, you want to say it?
Yeah.
What's not a review?
Not a review would be Bobby and / or Jeremy suck. That is not a review. That's an opinion.
And that's your opinion, not a review. So just give us a fair and honest review, whether it be on the books or the podcast. We'd appreciate that very much. Especially on Apple Podcast. Spotify would help too, so thank you. My second book, I kicked out on 2, The Education of Wrestler. If you go to tinyrl.com/blazebook2, it'll take you right to the link to Amazon. Again, the program gets a little bit of a kickback, and we appreciate it very much. So check that out. While we're doing this, I'm going to do one more plug, and that is if you go to tinyrl.com/blaze shirts, that'll take you to some new t-shirts. As you mentioned, Jeremy, you said it on the air, the Kingslayer, and Dennis out there, it has Bobby, the Kingslayer Blaze on them. They're really nice shirts. I purchased one myself, and, just give it a look. Get you one if you want one. Not trying to force it on you, but if you're a fan, I appreciate it. If you're a fan of this program, we got some other stuff pumping out that's going directly to this program. As we were joking around about earlier, we'll get that site up soon too. Jeremy, give them the website one more time, and then we'll start back number 5.
Well, so the website itself is at belltobellblaze.com. Right on the first page, what you'll first see right off the top is the episodes of the show. If you dig around a little bit, you'll be able to find the blog that we're going to be developing and other things besides that. And we're going to have a guest area. So far, I've added Ron Fuller, take a shot, and nobody else, but I'll get our other guests listed there. But I did want to say, guys, if you go to belltobellblaze.com/store, the first 2 items you'll see are Bobby's books.
Nice. Thank you, Professor. Thank you. And I am going to pick up one of those Pin Me, Pay Me shirts this week, Monday or Tuesday. So doing a lot of T-shirts lately. And I'm going to get you one of mine with the character out there sent out to you soon.
Yeah, well, T-shirt's probably the easiest merch to do, I would think.
Yeah. And that's fun. When I used to travel, I used to go to all the Harley shops. I didn't have a Harley, but I would just buy a shirt or a hat at the Harley shops. I used to, some people collected hats. I used to just collect T-shirts wherever I went. And Hard Rocks. I always got Hard Rock cafes. I went to almost, not all of them, of course, but a shitload of Hard Rock cafes, and I always buy a shot glass. I've got shot glasses. We mentioned Vancouver there earlier, Hollywood, Baltimore. I didn't make it to the one in London. I'll say that I did not make it to the one in London. Myrtle Beach, all the different ones I've been to. That's too many to fucking name, but all the Hard Rocks. Orlando, been to that one. I used to collect anyway, but T-shirts, I'd get them. I usually did. I thought, okay, here's the easiest thing to get from each city. I didn't want some beach if I'm in Tampa or whatever. I just said, you know what, be cool. I'm gonna get Harley shirts. People identify with them. Oh, you've been to this Harley shop, and I like looking at the bikes,
Yeah.
And I like the shirts from different places. I even had a not Hard Rock. Actually, I did have a Hard Rock from Hawaii, but I was going to say also I had a real nice Harley shirt from Hawaii too. So that's cool. Anyway, T-shirts.
Hold on. What we need as far as merch goes, Bobby?
What's that?
We need bell to bell with Bobby Blaze shot glasses.
Oh man, that'd be nice. Let's get them out there.
That's what we need. Yeah.
I had a bar in the house I had, and I had all my stuff on display, all my shot glasses. I got rid of a bunch of beer steins and beer glasses during COVID. I'd had them in a freezer, but I've got all my shot glasses in a box, and one day I'm going to make me a little bar area again and put them out there. And I would be honored to have a Bobby Blaze shot glass or a Bell to Bell podcast shot glass, whatever you can get on there, or just a pin me, pay me shot glass. We're going to drink one under here. Pin me and pay me and have another damn shot. We need to that's a good idea, Professor.
Yep.
And that's why you are the professor. So we'll come up with something on that.
Yeah, that's what we're going to need right there.
It might need to be a double shot, though. Pin me, pay me,
3-ounce
up or
glass.
lower. Yeah, 2.5, 3 ouncer maybe, Yeah, I just say, had this chick come over one time several years back. Just she'd worked like a 12-hour shift.
Picked her up in the dugout.
No, it wasn't the dugout girl in Vancouver. Just saying. No, this is she was anyway. I had some cherry vodka up in the freezer waiting on her that we had. And, me, I'm going to have me a couple Miller Lights, whatever. So she comes in about midnight after that long shift, and being a nurse and things like that, that's a long-ass day.
That is a long day.
And I had some of the double shots. I actually was Hard Rock, and I had some single shots. And I said, as she come in, instead of having a beer, she drank some beer now, don't get me wrong, but she said, I believe I have a shot. And I said, you want a big girl shot? And she goes, yes, I do. So I poured a big 2-ouncer in there, right? She hit that, and by the time she took about 3 steps heading toward the bedroom, she said, whoo, I got to pull up my big girl panties. I should have had a regular shot, honey. And I said, you get in that bedroom and I'm pulling them down, and I'll tell you why you had a double shot. Because you about ready to get the second one right now. I've been waiting for your ass for 12 hours, you know what I'm saying? But no, them double shots will get you sometimes. So beware of them if we sell the pin me, pay me double or 3-ounce shots there, Jeremy.
Yeah, those will go to your head pretty quick, especially when we're playing the fuller drinking game on this show.
Oh, yeah. So you already mentioned that twice today at least. So
you'd be 6 ounces in right now.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Whew. Okay, well, let's go to number 5, Professor.
Number 5 is going to be the Dangerous Alliance with Ollie Dangerously.
And think about the talent that was in that group.
All right,
think
you ready?
about the talent.
I'll go down the list right now.
Do it again. Knock it out.
Paulie Dangerously, obviously. Arn Anderson, Bobby Eaton, Larry Zbyszko, Medusa, Michael P.S. Hayes, Rick Rude, Steve Austin.
Whew.
Yeah,
man. Did you mention Larry Zbyszko?
Larry Zbyszko, of course. Yeah, he's about middle of the list there.
Okay. I was just zoned out for about a half a second because I was thinking that of those three, I was thinking in my mind, other than Paul E., the ones that first come to mind. As soon as you said Medusa, but I was thinking Rude, Eaton, and Zbyszko, and then of course Arn. But I was like, that's the core for me. So yeah, good stuff, man. Good stuff. Paul E., he done his job. A lot of people just hated Paul E. And I've heard all these different stories about him, but I've never had to deal with them. I'm just saying, as a manager, I mean, that Dangerous Alliance from around 91, 92-ish on there, that was a hell of a group of people he had.
Yeah.
Hell of a group of people. So, yeah, you can't leave that off your top 10, man.
No. Well, you know what I got to bring up here, because it's come up. We don't know a whole lot about it. But apparently, before Corny and Stan Lane left WCW, Bobby and Stan were almost members of the Horsemen.
You told me this. Fill me in.
Now, I didn't get the whole gist of the story, but apparently that was the direction they were going. They were going to put the Horsemen back together, and I believe it was going to be Flair, Arn, and then Bobby and Stan. I'd like to do a little more research and make sure I'm nailing down the timing there, but as far as I can tell, that's who it would have been. And look at, what that would have been. That'd have been world champion Ric Flair, TV champion Arn Anderson, tag team champions Bobby and Stan.
Yeah. Can you imagine those four as the Horsemen?
That'd be a fucking strong group right there. You may not be able to do the, hey, we're staying out drinking all night stories like you could have, but that would have been a strong grouping. That would have been just
would have been.
Yeah, knock you.
Yeah, it would have been a little bit different than a limousine ride. And that'd be Flair and Anderson. With Tully, that whole group clicked that away. But man, if you put them two in there, just again, like you say, that's just so solid. You got, like you said, you got world champion, you got TV champion, got the tag team champions. I mean, you're gonna have it all. You can have it all right there. And here's the question, though.
Yes.
Here's a question. Let's put this out there. You got JJ managing. Is Jim Cornette a subordinate to the team, or an advisor, or vice versa? Does
that's.
I don't think you have Cornette over the four Horsemen with Flair and Arn, but say he managed them, and does JJ take the more of a subordinate, like, I'm just going to be an investor or thinker? How would the managers play, or is Cornette not in the picture?
Well, let's look at this. I think JJ was at WWF at the time, wasn't he? Oh, okay. No, that might have been
thinking,
I'd have to go
Yeah, I'm just trying to play it out if those four were together. Let's go Ultra Universe.
Yeah.
Those four come together. It's kind of like at Club Hell on when he mashed something together and all the movies entwine and all the characters, fictional characters, meet, even though these guys are real guys. I was just trying to mesh them together there, if you will. Do a mesh up. If you put those four together, who manages? Is that a question for the audience?
Okay,
Do you have?
Yeah, let's go to the audience with it, because
I think it's JJ maybe, and then Cornette more of a subordinate, like coming to and saying we need to do this, this, and this, or vice versa. Is Cornette the manager, and JJ's like, here's the thing, I'm gonna be the subordinate and be like, and I'm maybe using that word wrong, that he may be a co-player, but saying like, I need to invest our money, I need to take care of the hotels, or whatever it is. How does that work, or do you say no? Okay. You know what? Hold one manager only.
Check this out. Okay, here's what I see. Here's what I see, okay?
Okay.
I see the Horsemen are the Horsemen. Ric Flair's wearing the nice suits and the rings and the Rolex and whatever. And Arn's doing whatever he does, because you don't have Tully there to be the second cock of the walk. So
gotcha.
Arn, you got to dress up a little bit. You got to force him, because a boy from Rome, Georgia isn't exactly a fucking, party guy. But whatever.
Right.
You put him in the role. Okay. Stan Lane, I'm sure he's a yacht guy, so he's probably into loose chicks and fast cars too, I'm assuming, So
he's in the fast boats right now, so there you go.
And then Bobby's Bobby. He's going to be quiet and just kind of hang out anyway, so you can throw him in a suit. Okay, so now you got the Horsemen. They're dressed up. They're doing their shit. Now you got tacky-ass Jim Cornette with the ugly suits, and he's a mama's boy, trying to fit in as the manager of the four Horsemen, but everybody else is just kind of playing him off. Okay, they're just kind of like, go play in traffic, kid. We got a handle on this. But the Midnight Express, they're like, well, he's still the guy that brought us to the dance, so we got. So yeah. Imagine where half the Horsemen have a manager they don't fucking give a shit about, and the other half love the guy, and they're still like they're still his guys. That could have been a fun grouping. That could have been good for some comedy. It could have been good for some tension later on. There's a lot.
Yeah, I could see that playing out if you kept both of them.
Yeah.
And I think if you put them two together like that, from what I've seen personally and professionally, I think there'd be a good bit of comedy and tension. Like you said, it could have been both with JJ and Jimmy, going back and forth and what they were going to do. Actually, you'd probably use that throughout. You'd keep that little bit of tension there, you could do some comedy stuff, like you said, but then the underlying thing is there's some tension. There's some tension between the boys.
Yep.
And that's not to say that maybe Arn leans towards Jimmy sometimes, or maybe Stan leans towards JJ sometimes, even some tensions there where, Flair's kind of like, hey, you leave, I'm here, I'm the man,
Mm-hmm.
And then Bobby's there, like I say, he's kind of quiet, like, well, if Corny says this, or he might say, well, JJ says this,
Yep.
He's the one that's just kind of like the peacekeeper, like, we're going out there, we're going to do this,
Yeah.
That'd be good, man. I don't know. It's an alternate universe. You can fuck it around however you want,
yeah.
right?
Yeah, but
Okay,
you know what?
man.
Here's the thing. So listeners, fans, all you guys at home checking this out, if you got an opinion on that, tweet it at us. Or if you go to belltobellblaze.com, there's a little microphone down in the right-hand corner. You can leave us a voicemail.
Oh, that'd be great. I'd love to hear anyone's opinion on that. Give it to us. Let us know. All right, man, let's go number 4. The big move off the top rope, Alabama Jam. Man, Bobby, get up on that top rope and just fly, man.
That was a nasty-looking move.
Yeah, he'd drop that leg from the top. I don't care if the guy's 3/4 of the way across the ring. He's sticking that thing every damn time. And I had to wonder throughout the years, again, I good vibes only, but man, I'm thinking, how in the hell did he not hurt his hips or knees and still walk when he was still walking at, through life? I like, he would, especially like, you work, maybe a bash, they did 14 or 17 days in a show, and that's the finish, or at least, close to the finish. And, you got to get up, and he does it the next day, and he's getting up there, 12 or 14 feet in the air, from the time of that top rope, and he's jumping, and then the length of the ring, I mean, he's going, like I said, at least half, if not 3/4 of the way, giving that bump, because he laid him to where, he's pretty much closer to the middle, the other person, by the time the leg drops. So he's taking that big ass bump, basically, night after night. Man.
That has to be a killer on your back. I mean, Hulk Hogan's like 3 inches shorter now because
right.
of that move,
And he's dropping it from the mat.
Yeah.
He's only Bobby's coming from another,
10 feet up.
Greater distance. Yeah. So Alabama Jam, man.
You know what that makes me think of though, Bobby?
What's that?
Compare him to Macho Man again. Macho Man could
the elbow.
Hit you with that elbow fucking anywhere in the ring, all the way across the ring.
Yeah. And he's laying on that hip.
Yep. But Bobby
every night.
But Bobby could hit you with that leg drop anywhere in the ring.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah.
Good point. Goes back to what you're saying early on. They put, just challenging each other night after night, come up with a crazier move, funner move, dangerous move, whatever it may be. Again, incorporating high flying, the craziness of the Macho Man, the calmness of Bobby. That's good stuff, man. I never received the Alabama Jam that I know of. If I did, I don't remember it. I like I said, I'm
knock the memory right out of you if you did.
Probably, but I took the high knee was our finish, the knee off the top, as we mentioned, flying knee. But yeah, I've seen it several times live, man, as a fan when I broke in, of course, and then, as one of the boys, just either on a monitor or live at the show, man, it's just art. So Alabama Jam, and I there we go. Let's go number 3. Everyone's probably expecting this one. The Midnight Express. What can we say?
Well, let's start with a quick history of the Midnight Express.
Yes, please do.
Down in Southeastern Championship Wrestling, Dennis Condrey and Randy Rose formed the original Midnight Express. Norval Austin would eventually turn on his tag team partner and join them as a third person in the group. They, surprisingly, were not named after the movie. What they took their name from was they all drove black cars and they liked to go out partying after midnight.
There you go.
That was the basis of the team. These guys moved around a lot. There was this, that, and the other. They used the Freebird rule, blah, 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 blah. But now we get to the important part. When Bobby Eaton was sent to Mid-South Wrestling under Bill Watts as part of a talent trade, they decided there would be a new version of the Midnight Express. Yeah. Eaton joined with his former rival Dennis Condrey under the management of Jim Cornette as the incarnation of this team.
Man.
Up until then, it had been a group of wrestlers. Now it was a tag team. And that was the start of one of the most dominant tag teams in one or two different forms, but one of the most dominant tag teams of my entire childhood, I would say. My teen years and everything. I remember those guys, when you saw them, man, they had the USA tag belts or the world tag belts or occasionally both.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that was something.
And I think on our podcast, in our earlier days of it, there's a top 10 tag team wrestlers of all time, greatest tag teams of all time. It's out there on YouTube. I think it's under tinyurl.com/BBBB video. I think that's the way it was set up. Either way, you can go in there and find it. The one text did. It's got them all broken down, a top 10 tag teams of all time. And our listeners, and I still believe if you did it today, it'd still come up aces on the Midnight Express being the greatest tag team in the history of professional wrestling. We still standing by that, Jeremy?
Yeah, I will stand by that. Here, check this number out, Bobby. Collectively, okay, let me see if I can find this again. Bobby and Dennis Condrey collectively held 53 tag team titles.
Daggone.
Setting a record, I believe that still stands, setting the record in all of professional wrestling. Yeah. So, and those two together as a tag team held 53 individual title reigns.
Man.
And, apparently not even the Dudleys, who are like one of the most decorated tag teams ever, actually touch that same number.
Man, that's impressive.
Mm-hmm. Now let's flash forward a little bit here, just kind of cover the entirety of the team. Eventually, Paulie Dangerously comes around. You know what he's got, Bobby?
Money.
Well, he's got money and a cell phone.
A cell phone, yeah. Lay it on me.
He's also got his own Midnight Express.
Mm-hmm.
And it's Dennis Condrey and Randy Rose. Now, obviously, Dennis had left and Stanley had joined. But when they show up, you got the actual two first members of the Midnight Express versus the new guys who I think for most of us, that was the Midnight Express we knew was the Bobby Eaton, Dennis Condrey version.
Right.
Yeah, so the Dennis Condrey, Randy Rose were like, well, what do you mean original Midnight Express? What are you talking about, Gordon Soley and Bob Cobbler? We don't get it.
Yeah.
So,
man,
setting up a nice little tag team.
A little nice angle there.
Yeah, nice angle there.
Two managers, two new Midnight Express. That played nicely.
You know what's fun about that? If you think about this, if you took a dime and said, okay, this dime is professional wrestling managers, right? And their personalities. And on one side of that dime, we're going to say is Jim Cornette. And on the other side is Paulie Dangerously / Paul Heyman. Mm-hmm. Paul Heyman and Jim Cornette are very much alike. They're just from two different geographies where there's different things about them, where they appreciate different parts of the business. When you start picking at their personalities, they are fucking mirror images of each other.
Well, I'm a Cornette guy. So
I know.
You know that.
I'm not making any.
No, I know. I know. I get your point. Yeah. No, that's a point well made. Point well taken.
Yeah. All right. Let's keep rolling
Midnight
here.
Express. Okay, let's go to this one. All right. This is not any secret throughout the wrestling world. You want to give it to them, Jeremy? I've seen it personally.
Yeah. So we'll let you cover that. But
sure.
Dennis always carried extras, and Bobby, what did he carry?
Bobby carried every damn thing. He had duffel bags, a couple of duffel bags, He always towels, number one towels. He had towels, and going back and watching some of the YouTube videos out there, here's a good reason. I'm hot and sweaty. I don't want to let someone use my towel. This towel's mine. I'm hot and sweaty. I want to dry off on her. I just got out of the shower. I don't want, And so Bobby made sure he got an extra one in case someone needed one. They wouldn't use his. And then it became like, so-and-so left a towel or didn't bring one for every reason. Well, I asked Bobby. So then it was like 2 or 3 of them, He always had one, So that's towels and then gum, pins, sewing kit. And we mentioned would take the time to even sew your gear if you needed to. I would imagine that came from just his early young upbringing that, he knew how to fucking sew some knee pads up or whatever in case something blew out or a hole in his trunks or what have you. And you're out there on the road, you had to take stuff, for 3, 4, 5, 7 days, however long you was gone for, might as well have a sewing kit with you. Candy bars, let's see, hammers, nails, screwdrivers. If you what Cornette say, the Steiners just kept messing with them there for a while. Like, wonder if Bobby will have this, and he's trying to stay one step ahead of him. They'd ask him he'd have a combination lock or he had a screwdriver. I mean, there was several things he had that they had asked. They he won't have this, and he did. So yeah, he always carried extras for the boys, and it was always something different in there, I think the core of it was, though, to not take the joke over the top but I think it was towels, washcloths, bootlaces, like I said, sewing kit, lots of gum, breath mints, and candy bars. Those are things right off the top of my head that I know he had for sure. Like a little, little convenience store.
You know what? Let me ask you this. If somebody lost their duffel bag, would Bobby Eaton have an extra duffel bag?
You know what? He may have had one folded down in there. He may have had a duffel bag in a duffel bag, So, yeah. He always had his boots, of course, and socks. Oh, yeah, let me tell you. Almost let that one off. He always had extra socks. And again, it's not one of them things you want to say, because if someone wanted a pair of my socks, I'm giving them to them. I'm not letting them borrow them. I don't want them back sweaty and do it for you.
No.
I don't want you to take them and fucking wash them and bring them back to me. Those socks are yours, sorry. But Bobby had extra. If someone, for whatever reason, would need a pair, he had extra. I don't know about underwear. I'm not going there. I'm just saying, if you borrowed mine, if you're man enough to borrow them, I'm probably giving them to you because I do not want them back. Sorry, but I don't think he had those. Maybe he did, but I know he had lots of socks. Everyone needs socks at some point.
Yeah,
so
I'd give somebody $25 before a pair of underwear. I was like, here, just go to Walmart.
Have someone run out and get you a pair if you need them that bad.
Yeah.
You're at a building and you don't have underwear. Either don't wear them, or as soon as the show's over, go get you some.
Hey, man,
because I can't help you.
We've all ended up without our underwear once or twice in life.
At some point in our life, sure. Yeah, I've had to rip mine off before. Had to clean up on the highway a couple of times, just leave them out there. Sorry.
Yep.
Luckily, have a towel with me, and maybe only have an hour to go. But you're like, God damn it, I didn't need them socks and that a pair of underwear anyway. But I'm thankful I can just make it this far.
Sometimes you just need to get out of bed quick and run out before the husband comes knocking on the door or something.
Now, Professor, I don't know about that.
You know what I do? I do want to bring up, because I do happen to know that a few of our listeners have started watching or have been watching Corner Gas.
Okay.
There's an episode later where one of the characters starts wearing cargo pants and starts loading them up with different shit to carry, and everybody tries to come along and stump him as far as what he's carrying. And when I heard the story about Bobby Eaton, that was the first thing I thought of, was just like somebody going like, do you have like a Sharpie pen and windshield wipers,
Yes, I do. But that's something good. All right, so let's go to our number one. Again, if this isn't on your list, I'd be surprised, but we are the official 100% legit top 10 reasons we love Bobby Eaton on the Bell to Bell with Bobby Blaze podcast. And Professor, you have knocked it out of the park this week. I appreciate it. Let them down. God damn it, Bobby, spit it out. Easy for me to say over here, Professor.
Yeah.
Just please tell us number one. I was going to say lay it out to us, Big Daddy, but go ahead.
All right. Number one, Bobby Eaton was the nicest guy in the world.
Yes.
I defy you. Find somebody who has something bad to say about Bobby Eaton.
I have said that since we started day one of this program. And I've never heard anyone say anything bad, nasty, hateful, mean in any way about Bobby Eaton. He and I did a little thing last night for it was on a TikTok. I've never done a TikTok. I don't have TikTok, but for the Time Warp, they cover, it's like the Geekish Cast. You guys, you're of that. They have all the fucking social media. Instagram, I was doing Facebook Live for them. They was filming. It's not on my phone. I've got Twitter at Bobby Blaze 744. Just saying. Jeremy's at the Geekish Cast or the joint one at Bell to Bell Blaze. But the gentleman down there that was doing all their media stuff, all their social media, Harry, shout out to Harry. Make sure he gets that, Earl. He done one for TikTok, and I did about a 25, 30-second tribute, Rest in Power, Bobby Eaton. And I put on there, all you wrestling fans of the world, and if you've seen Bobby Eaton as good or as great as you thought he was in the ring, he was that much better of a man and a human being outside the ring. Nicest guy in the world, man. Bobby, I hope you love this top 10 reason, and 10's not enough, but we did a little tribute to him last week, and this week we got an order, man, and that's our number one. That's our number one. What do you think, Professor?
Well, I think that's about all we had to say on that matter, isn't it?
There you go. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Now, close out anything?
I'm gonna go right back to where kind of we went when Animal died. Is that the Earth is 4 billion years old, and if you're around right now, you got to be around during a 30, 40-year period where Bobby Eaton was a pro wrestler. Consider yourself lucky.
Absolutely. I consider myself lucky that I got to share a ring with them and got to know them. But more importantly, I was a friend of his and he was a friend of mine, and there was that mutual respect there. And I imagine if he treated everyone else that he met just a smidget of the way he treated me, then your life has been blessed by having met, talked to, shook the hand of, worked with beautiful Bobby Eaton. And that's a shoot, not a work. Rest in power, Bobby Eaton. Beautiful Bobby Eaton.
Beautiful Bobby. All right. Well, You know what, guys? I'm going to go ahead and wrap up here. And I think, before anybody gets emotional or it gets weird. So
Right.
Yeah. So, for the late Tex Johnson, myself, Professor Jeremy Vilmur, and Arn Anderson's favorite enhancement talent, the only Triple Crown champion of Smoky Mountain Wrestling, Bobby Blaze. Bye-bye, everybody.